I feel like sometimes you act like a child. Just gonna say it.
Well, what did Jesus say about children? What did Jesus say about children?
That
That they were
they're.
awesome, that he loved them, that the kingdom of heaven belongs to those like these.
He also said
Something like that.
that you don't become a man until you lose your childish ways.
That's true. Did he say that?
He
Or
said
did
something
Paul?
like that. Maybe it was
Paul
Paul.
Paul talks a lot about that too. Paul brings it with the when you're a child, you drink milk, stop acting like a baby. It's just my paraphrase, my summation of one of the things that Paul brought it with.
Hey man, I drink a lot of milk. Milk's good. It's good
Yeah,
for your.
because you're a baby. Because you're a big giant baby. You're a man baby. A big
Uh,
man, a milk drinking man baby. That's what you are.
hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
You have your little baba before bed. This is what we're
Well,
gonna talk about. Are we gonna talk about how much of a child you are and the your baba habits?
I think we were talking about being a man.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. I'm a man.
I'm a, I'm a man.
I'm a man.
What does it mean to be a man?
Yeah, it's a interesting conversation and in the context of manhood. So I think it's an important question. We're talking about we're in Friends Month right now. We talked about friends. We've talked about friends quite a bit. It's a big topic for us, but the idea also of there seems to be data science backed correlation between manhood and inversely proportional to your number of friends. So
Hmm.
as you go into manhood, your friends drop significantly, and it's all joking aside, it is a problem. We had Richard Reeves on, uh, awesome podcast, awesome book that he wrote of Boys and Men, and a lot of the stuff that he studies and talks about, and he also has a video on friendship, and a lot of the things that he talks about is just it's this idea that we're moving in the wrong direction in some of these things. We're getting worse, right? As society potentially continues to grow in technology and sophistication, some of the base things, some of our most fundamental uh, God-given creation ordained things are going to the wayside, and we're becoming less human, quite frankly, as we become, quote unquote, more mature, more advanced. We're losing things that are core to who we are, and it has an impact. It has a very real detrimental impact.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, as you alluded to, he has a video, and the title of the video is Friendship Recession. And he identifies four things that he says are causing this so-called friendship recession. And it's interesting. It's very there's a lot of similarities to the 2023 um, report by the Surgeon General about loneliness, the epidemic of loneliness, and um, men are lonely. And here's some reasons why. I'm gonna list them out, and then we can kind of dive into each of these. So I think each one of them, we can make an impact on. One, geographic mobility. Two, more parenting time. Three, work and careers. He calls it workism. And four, breakdown of relationships. Those four things he says are what is causing this friendship recession, and specifically with men, because men have a lot harder of a time being vulnerable, being honest, being real, saying I love you, admitting to faults. Like there's a lot of stuff there that we have a harder time with than women. The first thing, geographic mobility. You and I have had impacts in this department because of being in the military and moving every 3 to 4 years. Changing job locations, changing communities, the people that you work with. Some of them you stay friends with, but you move on and you're now in a different location. And that's very similar in civilian world. People are moving all the time for their job. Like that's the primary reason people are moving. It's not to get closer to family. It's not to get closer to friends. It's to, for the career, for the job, to make money. I don't know. What do you think about geographic mobility? What's your experience with, friends in the military and then moving away and staying connected with them.
Yeah, I make a big effort to stay connected to my friends and but I'll be honest, man, like that is the proximity thing, and we see this a lot in the group. We see this in Friendship Month. We have guys raise their excuse me, raise their hands and talk through who their friends are, and I would say to a 90% solution, most of the guys say my closest friend is this dude that I keep in touch with, and we call and we text or whatever, right?
That's
And I would
that's not
argue
like in the same location,
not
right?
geographically located, right? Because a
Yeah,
lot of guys were military, but even if they weren't military, there's just that aspect of moving around, like you said, and also when you move, especially as you get later in life, the effort, friendship is effort, right? One of the things that he said in that video, he said it's not like a flower that blooms. Friendship's not like a flower that blooms. It's like a woodworking project, and a lot of us want flowers that bloom. And that's just not reality, right? Like you have to invest in your relationships. And so the later you get in life, as you continue to move and do these things, move away from potentially places that where you're from, it gets harder. And so because it's harder, there's more resistance. We just don't do it, right? A lot of guys just kind of stop, and then they invest in their family. And this sounds beautiful, right? Sounds like a really honorable thing. I invest in my wife and my kids. It's not that honorable, right? It's an excuse to not invest elsewhere. And I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in your wife and your kids. We obviously are huge on that, but it shouldn't be your primary investment. And we'll talk about that here, in the next couple points as well. But I guess my point is, while I pride myself on being somebody who reaches out and maintains connections, those connect we should just be honest, like a lot of those relationships guys kind of fall by the wayside. Maybe you see someone a couple of times a year and it's beautiful and it's great and it's awesome and it's lovely, but like what are you doing? It's almost like my wife and I always talk about, why am I going to buy a car for the 3 days of the year that I need it? Meaning, why am I going to buy,
the third
we
row
have
of
five
seats.
people, right? We have five people in our family. Like that should be the focus. We have the houses, people buy houses. Well, I want to buy a house with these extra bedrooms for when the grandkids come. Okay, that's great. It sounds awesome. But what if the grandkids come and visit like once a year? Like you're gonna buy a house to support that once a year, or like maybe just get some bunk beds or something, right? Same thing with relationships. Like you're gonna call friendship, you're gonna define friendship as these one or two occurrences that happen, maybe not even that many a year. No, man, like you really need to invest where you're at. And so both of us have really invested in getting to know people and invest people locally and who are in proximity, because that's how you do life. You do life in proximity, right? You don't do it via cell phones. And quite frankly, a lot of the technology is so new. Like it's not built to maintain relationships. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
not the way it's not the natural way. The natural way is walking with people in person. And we talked about this on a Zoom call the other day. I'm like, dude, this is beautiful. I love seeing all these dudes. I love the conversations. I love the challenge. It's not the same as meeting in person and giving somebody a hug. It's just not. You
nope.
cannot replicate that. You can't replicate a hug except by replicating a hug. It just is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of men, think and say they have friendships, but their friendships are states apart. And yeah, maybe you make an effort to have a call every now and then. That's great. I mean, that's a great step. But none of their friends are local. None of their friends like you actually hug it out with, go do something fun with on a regular basis. And maybe they schedule something once a year or once every other couple of years, a college reunion or something like that. And they say that, we're such good friends that you just catch up immediately and it feels like we never, you know, left each other. But I think that's kind of a false sense
Well, and
of
challenge
friendship.
it, right? Challenge
Yeah.
it. Maybe you guys are, maybe we catch right up, but there's a lot of stuff that happened in that gap, right? Maybe you got a divorce, maybe some serious life events, not maybe, some serious life events definitely happened, and we just weren't together for it. I
Yeah.
wasn't a true resource for you in those times, and nor was I intended to be necessarily, right? Like we should have people that are around us that we can be proximity to and go see those people and make an effort, right? Make an effort. It's not easy. We had a Cinco de Mayo party just for in the neighborhood, invited a couple families on Sunday, and it's effort, right? It required prep, it required cleanup, it required kids running around. But I'll tell you, it was awesome. It was awesome to see all these kids come together. It was great to see just the relationships budding, and it was good to see that in the adults as well.
Amen. One of the things he talks about is more parenting time, and this is a hot topic in my family. I mean, we spend a lot of time investing into our kids, and it's really important to us. I want to be a present father, be around them, be at every event. But Richard Reeve says that that can actually be a detriment to friendship because now you're spending so much time on the third piece of, that he talks about is work and career. And then all the other rest of the time and energy goes towards your family. Well, there's no more time left for friendship. And that I think that's where a lot of people are right now. Like I was listening to a podcast, I think it was John Mark Comer, and he was talking about how much we are investing in our kids for their futures. Like, we're trying to get them involved in extracurricular activities and events, and make sure that their grades are good and be the highest SAT scores and all these things, right? To boost them to get into the top colleges, to get the best jobs, all this stuff. But we're lacking just like kids being kids and hanging out and like playing on the playground
Yeah.
and just doing, you know, normal kid stuff. And the parents are right there on top of them, right? Just watching
Yep.
everything they do, guiding them to go be the next,
Yeah, man, it's pretty fascinating, and I'll just give two thoughts on that, or 2 points. One, ideally, this is my opinion. My opinion is that because I love my children so much, I don't want them to stay at my house forever. Like I don't want you here, right? I want
Yeah.
you at 18 to
See ya.
either go to it doesn't have to be college, just go do something. And if you're staying at home, like I'm going to charge you exorbitant rent. Like I'm gonna make some money off of you because like that's life, dude. You're renting a room in my house. That's life. And so I might as well help you introduce you to what that means, right? But I love them and I want them to go be independent and do this thing. And like I talk to my daughter, I tell my kids, dude, I've told them forever. I'm like, hey, like you guys know you're not welcome here when you're 18, right? Unless you're paying rent. Not that I don't love you.
I
It's
love that.
because I love you so much. And so
Right.
like my already like, dude, she's always like, yeah, I know, Dad. I know. I don't worry. I'm gonna be gone. And it's not contentious. I'm like, good. I'm proud of you. I love that. I love that you're gonna be gone. Like, amen. But the fact of the matter is, so that's just a little caveat to what I'm about to say. Your kids are not gonna stay. You have 18 years to spend 99% of the time you're gonna spend with them for the rest of their lives, right? When they go, you're gonna get some, ideally maybe Sunday dinners and stuff and things, especially as they get married and have kids, and maybe you're gonna be able to be involved, and maybe they stay geographically, um, proximity, their proximity is geographically located to you, and you can do things, and that's great. You can be involved, but dude, they're gonna be gone. Like they have their own life. And so how are you preparing them to make friends if you're always going to be their best friend and like hang out with them? Like when my kids are like, Dad, let's go do. I'm like, no, you go. Like go away. Get your friends right over there. Like go do something, or figure out how to be bored and do something by yourself. Right? Those are life skills. Those are good things. And the data also shows that parents hovering is not good for kids. Anxiety rates are skyrocketing. Suicide, like maturity rates are way down. Like there's so many impacts, and it seems like a good thing. Like, oh, I'm a parent, I'm totally involved in, but you could be involved, dude. Like I coach my kids football, right? But like I'm not out there like hitting the kid across the line for him. Like you go hit the kid. Like I'll coach you. I'm here. I'm present. I love you. I invest in you. We do date nights. We do things like that. But like I'm not here to entertain you. I tell my kids that all the time. Like, I'm not here for your entertainment. I don't care if you're bored. And a lot of parents can't say no to their kid, like, oh, well, they just want to spend time with me. Yeah, make them spend time somewhere else. Like, figure it out. Like, you're gonna have to spend time away from you at some point. So, like enjoy the time you have and enjoy it, be very intentional, but also be intentionally send them out to learn life and do other things, right? Like it's good for your kids to not always be like tugging on your shirt and like, Dad, can I have that? Can I have that? Can I have this? Right? My kids have
Dad, will you
They
play with
grow
me?
into that independence, right? They're all like, dude, they're making money now. Like neighbors are freaking paying them. Like Jake made over $100 a weekend ago because he's watching dogs and doing different things. I'm like, that's awesome. Did he mess up sometimes? Yeah, sure, but he's learning, right? And so I think we just have to realize, and then for your own mental health, your kids are going to leave ideally. Then what? Now you're in your 50s, 40, like your 40s, 50s, and you have no friends. You've never invested in anybody. Now what are you going to do?
Now it's even harder to
That's even
plug in.
harder, dude. Like you're going to like, I mean, is as much as I love my children, I love spending time with them. I love being in the house. I know that that transition when they all leave is going to be, difficult. I'm also looking forward to like 45 days of snowboarding a year and not
Yeah.
coming home to like to pick the kids up from school. Like I literally am going to be snowboarding probably 50 to 60 days a year. And I'm probably going to fly fish my face off, right? And there's not going to be a time limit to how long I go out or whatever. I mean, yeah, I'm going to hang out with my wife and it's going to be great, but like I tend to do that stuff like with my friends too. And mountain biking and different there's also things we should look forward to with the kids out of the house because that's nature, that's a natural progression of life is that they go.
Yeah.
And I hate to break this to you guys. Your kids are not going to want to hang out with you that much. Like as they get older, like they just don't think you're as cool as you think you are. My kids are dumb because they don't know how cool I am, but that's their fault, right? That's their fault. But like you want them to grow out of that. Like you want them to grow into a different relationship with you, an adult relationship that also matures. And what that looks like is not your kids living at home dependent on you for everything because you taught them how to be bored and how to go do and make and you know what they learn by example. Do you
Yeah.
want your kids, just ask a simple question, do you want your kid to be the kid that has no friends when they grow up? Like do you want that for your kid? If the answer is no, then why are you modeling it?
That's right. Yeah, modeling it is huge. Modeling, like our kids, and I know your kids do the same thing. My kids ask like, "Hey, Dad, how's your play date with Zio? What'd you guys do today?" And I come home with all my fly fishing gear or my mountain bikes in the back of the truck, and they see that. They see that I'm going
Yeah.
to go have fun with my friends. It's important for them to see that because that's modeling what, it could be like for them too.
And sometimes you miss out on stuff, dude. Like Erica just went mountain biking, girls trip to Fruta for, Friday to Sunday. And she missed some things, but she also gained on a lot.
Yeah.
Like we should focus on what she missed. She missed some sporting events. Well, guess what? There's like another 100 this upcoming week.
Yeah.
And I'm not minimizing that. I'm just simply saying she gained by going and doing that too, right? And it's okay. This idea that parents should always be around, I think is silly. It's silly.
Yeah.
And it sets you up for failure, dude. Like, yeah, I mean, just project your life forward. Do I want to have no friends when my kids leave the house? And am I really here? Are my kids, did I have kids so that I have friends? Like that's kind of weird. So if that's weird and that's a reality, then like take action, do something about it, and stop pretending the honorable thing in life is to be a parent and nothing else.
You're passionate about that one.
Well, I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about it because it makes me sad
Yeah.
for it makes me sad to see people give everything to their kids or whatever, and it sounds super honorable, and they live in a lie. And then after you have, I mean, there are plenty of people who like take extreme measure and like take their own lives because they're so lonely, predominantly men when this honorable facade goes away, and it just makes me sad, right? It makes me sad for them. And it's just I think all these like lies are from the pit of hell, dude, in all honesty. Just to be completely blunt, I think they're from the pit of hell, and the devil gets no more joy than to see a man just suffering in silence and isolation,
Yeah.
or a woman, right? But mostly men.
The other
and,
thing I
and
want to,
so and I don't want my boys to have that. My daughter already is like a social butterfly. Like she's already got like she's got social stuff pretty down. Like she's pretty varsity with that. But my boys, not as much. And so I need to teach them that, right?
yeah. The other thing I wanted to hit on, this one's gonna go a little bit longer than our normal real talk, but this idea of workism, careerism, a lot of scholars are pointing to it again as you know, alluding to this friendship recession. Um, you and I have seen it. We've experienced it. We've gotten caught up in it. This idea of just finding identity in our work, in our career, and having so much energy into the identity of our job, our career, that there is no more energy for friendship because it's all been put into work and career and or the family, parenting we just talked about, and there's no time left for friends. I mean, how many times have you and I been told no when we send invites out to go do stuff, and the excuse is always they have work, right? They have a job to do. They have work. And I'm not trying to minimize work, career and job and making pay, but like when it becomes such an identity for someone that that's all they have, that's where this friendship recession really starts to come into play.
Well, yeah, when are your primary working years, right? When are those primary times? It usually coincides with when you have kids
Yeah.
and when those kids are home, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not just friendship. I think the parenting thing sounds like super great, but I think most men, if they're really honest, they completely embrace that provider of things and money and stuff. If they are even if they are the primary breadwinner, like it might be the mom, and that has its own. If you're not conscious of it and self-aware, that has its own effects. Um, which I, for one, have always been like, hey, if you want to be the primary breadwinner, excuse me,
Go
that
ahead.
like I'm good. I'm good. Like let's do
I'll go
that.
fly fishing more.
And now she's a business owner, and we'll see. I mean, it's there's potential there. But the what else are you supposed to provide? And so a lot of times these also come in conflict. The parenting and the workism come in, they compete with each other, but also it just takes more time, and then you have zero time. They just compound on each other, right? And then you're not even being a good dad. You're not pouring in. And I'll tell you, dude, it's funny to me because a lot of guys that tell me that they can't do all the things that we invite them to, I ask them, I'm like, hey, dude, how was the golf game today? Or how was the this? Or how was that? And like, I'm glad they're doing those things, but usually it's tied to work. And so my whole point is there's time, right? There is time. You just have to prioritize it. And if work is a priority, then just be honest and say that. Say that out loud to yourself and to your kids and to your potential friends. Like just say it. Hey, sorry. I'm choosing that work is my number one priority, and that's where my time goes. And if it's true, then cool. Like live that life. Do your thing.
When you say it to yourself, though, it doesn't sound that cool.
It doesn't sound cool at all.
Hey, man, I'm not gonna hang out with you today. You're not my priority, but all of these emails, that's my priority today.
That's my jam, dog. Email.
Love doing me some emails. I'm gonna stop here. There's a fourth one, the breakdown of relationships that goes into a lot of fatherlessness and broken homes, and I think it's 1 in 4 kids now live in a fatherless home, um, which is bonkers to me. Um, but maybe we'll hold that for a separate topic. I think we could probably go a full real talk on just that conversation alone. But yeah, I think we're failing at friendship in general, and I think we need to make some major changes and major rudder adjustments to get back on course to make friendship a priority.
Well, what I love about this, it also gives words, it gives a framework. So you can assess your life against workism, parenting, and what's the first one? What's the first
Geographic
one?
location.
Geographic location, that's right. You
Yeah.
can you can at least make an assessment. And I would even say geographic location, there's a choice in that too.
Yeah.
I made a choice, right? And I know a lot of people who make choices. You can either choose whether it's a pay raise or whatever, or you could choose a location. You could choose to stay there. There oftentimes there are choices you can make that don't have to, that don't force you. Nobody's forcing you to move in most cases. The military being a little bit different, but aside from that, I've never been forced against my will to move. And so I think, it just gives you a framework against which to assess your life, which is great, man. Like it's all about self-awareness, about being honest. And then you can honestly just say, like, hey, I'm choosing to move. I'm choosing work. I'm choosing to parent, and say the alternate, like just say what the honest consequences are too. Like I'm choosing to parent at the expense of having any friends so that when my kids leave the house, I'm completely lonely. Cool. A great choice.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing. Or like, let me do something different. And let me just give you advice up front. Like your wife doesn't want to be your best friend. I know it sounds super romantic and sounds super cute. My wife is my best friend. It sounds adorable.
You
Um,
complete me.
you complete me. The longer life goes and you have no friends, and she does, like, dude, she doesn't want to be that person. She doesn't. And it could still be a beautiful marriage. And she's not like your best friend that you always want to hang out with, right? My wife does not want to go fly fishing with me. And I don't want to go mountain biking with her because she smokes me up the mountain. So
Yeah,
there's that.
because she crushes you.
Because she crushes me. I get on the downhill though. Yeah,
Go make some
man.
friends.
Go make some friends, dude. Friends are cool. Friends are fun.
Friends are cool.
Giddy up.
See ya.